Good morning and welcome to Escoffier Online. My name is Chef Thomas and today I will be teaching you a little bit about sushi. Sushi is such a fantastic food and it's actually fairly easy to make. I will talk a little bit about the ingredients and also a little bit about the techniques itself, and it's you can definitely do it at home. All the ingredients you can get readily at the grocery store. But let's start with the most important component, which is actually the sushi rice. That is like this big mystery about what's in the sushi rice. I will break this mystery now and I'm gonna let you in on some of these fantastic flavor profiles. So think about when you had sushi the last time and you were tasting the rice. It had kind of a sweet, tangy flavor, a little bit maybe vinegary, a little bit salty, but then a little bit of sweetness there, maybe sugar or something in that direction. And if you have thought of that, these are pretty much the main ingredients in sushi rice. Most Japanese restaurants also use some other ingredients, kind of as their own secret recipes. Some use dried shrimp shells, some use maybe a little bit marine sweet cooking wine, Japanese cooking wine, rice wine, or also some seasoning or some spice like wasabi. Okay, so let's talk about the rice first. The ingredients are very commonly found in the grocery store. We have, first of all, sushi grated rice, which there's plenty of different makes and models out there. I just picked this one up at a Japanese store. They range anywhere between $4 or $5 for the whole package, and this is going to give you a lot of sushi rice. The nice thing about this is the directions are usually on the package, so you cannot really do anything wrong if you just follow the directions. Another ingredients we need for that sushi rice is right here. This would be a rice vinegar, and I also brought a couple different items here. So there's kikkoman, there's marukan, there's different rice vinegars. They all taste about the same, so it's really up to your flavor profile what you want to use. These rice vinegars are easily also be used for any salads you make at home. So don't think just because it says rice vinegar, it's only something you can use for Asian cuisine or for sushi. The other two ingredients, as you can barely see, they're both white. You guessed right, that is your salt and that is your sugar. Sugar, you can use raw sugar, you can use brown sugar, you can use white sugar. It would not really matter. It depends what flavor profile you were going to go to. And of course, every single time you change a little bit, your recipe is going to come out a little bit different and will give you that nuance, that particular sushi rice. So play around with these different recipes because it's very, very easy. I'm going to put those back so they're not in my way. And then we're going to talk about the equipment, because you're going to be thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to buy like a $500 rice cooker. Well, here's your equipment you need. And that looks pretty much something you probably already have in your kitchen. Sauce pot with a lid and a strainer. The strainer is very, very important. A lot of people forget about that step in sushi rice cooking. This is actually, you want to make sure that when you rinse the rice, yes, you rinse the rice. It comes right out of the package and you rinse it under cold water. You want to rinse that rice so long until it comes out, the water comes out clear under that rice. What does that do? It actually washes out all the other starches which have been combined for rubbing of the rice kernels in the packaging. So you want to wash that out because you want to actually be in charge of making this rice sticky. And the stickiness comes actually not from the starches too much. It actually comes from the vinegar, sugar, and salt mixture. So very simple, sauce pot and strainer to wash that out. The recipe is about 3 cups of rice to 1.5 cup of water to a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar, a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon of salt. As I said, you can vary that a little bit. You can actually taste that mixture before you put it in and see if it fits you. After cooking, you want to cook the rice for about 20 minutes. The water is going to be disappearing. It's going to evaporate. And the rice is going to get almost like a risotto rice. It's a little bit sticky. You don't want to stir it constantly, so you want to actually do it like pilaf style. After the rice comes out and you mix it with your vinegar, sugar, salt mixture. The rice is actually nice and individually kernels, but it's extremely sticky. If I would overcook that to risotto style, the rice would be sticky and creamy, which is all the starch in it because I constantly stir it. So there's the huge difference between sticky sushi rice and risotto sticky. So the sushi rice uses the vinegar, sugar, salt combination to make it sticky, and the risotto uses the starch from the short grain rice, most of the time arborio rice, directly. So I think that made it maybe already a little bit easy to understand what's happening here. When this is done, you want to cover it up and let it kind of sit warm right next to you. And the next thing is going to be your nori sheets. Nori sheets are roasted seaweed leaves. These seaweed leaves have a shiny side. This is usually the side you want to put down on the sushi mat. And then they have a side which has, you can almost see it, like ridges in there. And these ridges are actually good for when you make gunkan sushi. Gunkan is the Japanese word for battleship. And that actually comes from making a sushi where you can actually put stuff on top of it. Kind of like, the battleships had like, or the aircraft, had like the aircrafts on it or whatever not. So these lines here are for two reasons. You can cut with your scissors for gunkan. They make individual lines like this. Or later when you roll the sushi, you actually kind of have an idea where you're going to be cutting with your knife through. In general terms, most sushi places will do one roll and will cut 6 pieces out. So they cut it in half, and in each half is going to be 3 more pieces. Now you will go to sushi places, they cut them smaller, maybe 8 pieces in a roll. Some people, they make massive futomakis that are really huge, and they maybe only get out 4 or 5. So, but the roasted seaweed is one of the main staples for sushi making, just like the rice. They come in packages of 20, 30 to 100. Very easy to buy in any grocery store. Actually, pretty much you can get these nowadays. Any other application for these? You can use them for appetizers or d'oeuvres. You can also use them for garnishes. But do not forget, it does have a little bit of an aroma from toasted seaweed. So you want to make sure that this also fits into your cooking, into your recipe. All right. So seaweed done, sushi rice done. Let's go to some of the fun ingredients. We have our vegetables. I actually have only cut up an avocado. I have some green onions. I also bought some seaweed salad, which is nice for garnishes. It's also nice for putting actually into the rolls. I kind of like that. It's kind of stringy. It kind of gives a really nice taste. So what else can I put into sushi? Pretty much anything you want. One thing which is very common is also cucumbers, cream cheese, for some of your rolls like the Boston roll, California roll. And then let's go to our very important other ingredients, which are the proteins, because we all like actually seafood in our sushi. And we have a question.
Are you cooking the rice vinegar and with the rice?
Good question, and thank you for pointing that out. Do you cook actually the vinegar or the vinegar solution? The vinegar and sugar and salt has to actually come together. That means it has to melt. I need heat for that. Yes, you can either put it in a sauce pot and cook it at the same time you cook the rice, or you can actually zap it in the microwave. That's just as fine. I think probably a lot of sushi chefs are going to be probably sending the knives now to me. I would probably do it on the stovetop, but microwave hot vinegar is just as fine. It does not have to boil, reduce. If you have the flavor profile you want, it's achieved by adding salt and sugar and the different vinegar. So sauce pot or microwave is perfectly fine for that. Thanks for the question. All right, proteins. What are we going to throw into our sushi rolls? A very common item you see in Japanese restaurants is imitation crab meat or crab sticks. These actually come frozen. They're individually wrapped. And these are fibers. That means I can actually pull them apart just like the real deal. And I can actually shred these up and make fillings for the gunkan. The gunkan, again, are the battleship ones. Those are the ones you fill on top. So I can make salads out of them with maybe some masago mayonnaise, or just mayonnaise itself with some green onions. So we have crab sticks. We have tuna, usually a center piece, center cut. And tuna grade sushi is fairly expensive. So I purchased this piece, and it was less than a pound, and I paid $11 for it. So if it's sushi graded tuna, you will definitely taste the difference. If you just go and get like a frozen packaged tuna from the grocery store, you will not have the same sensation on your sushi. When you cut the tuna up for maybe a kind of a tartare for sushi roll or a gunkan to fill, you can probably go with the frozen products. Other than that, for sushi, I would always try to go for the fresh fish. Right next to the tuna, we have salmon. You also see the color difference. So this is bright red, and this is more an orange. We have great teaching videos about how to butcher salmon. If you want to get a whole salmon for the sushi, that's great. Then you're probably going to make about 1,000 rolls with a whole fish. You can also just buy a salmon fillet at the butcher and get that fresh. Tuna is not graded by sushi grading, so you want to get a salmon which is rather fatty to get that right mouthfeel. Most pieces for sushi itself, for the sushi and for the sashimi, about 2 inches long, about 1/8 to 1/4 thick, and they are usually cut on an angle with a sushi knife or with a long-bladed chef knife, so you can really nice and cut it. So one more ingredient, or actually a couple more ingredients I want to point out. Most Japanese restaurants use for their sushi. Let me unwrap this so you can see it better. I'm going to be in tears in a second because this is kind of spicy. All right, this is probably something you would guess right away when we talk about Japanese cuisine. This is actually soy sauce. Soy sauce comes in various different ways and strengths of saltiness. So pick your own. There's also sodium-free soy sauce. Plenty of different age groups. It's almost a little bit like buying balsamic vinegar. So if you ever have gone for balsamic vinegar, there's like the 40, the 50, the 60-year-old. The soy sauce is very similar. It changes taste and mouthfeel and flavor by age, and also where it comes from, because there's Korean soy sauce, there's Japanese soy sauce, there's Chinese soy sauce. So keep that in mind when you start buying your soy sauce. The best thing to taste this is straight up. So don't get a shot of soy sauce, but buy it, or see if you can go somewhere where you can taste some of the soy sauce and figure out which one is the best one, maybe with a little bread or just with a little spoon dipping. All right, we have sesame seeds. These are toasted sesame seeds. There's also black sesame seeds, which are fantastic. For some of the maki rolls, they are rolled with the rice on the outside and with the nori sheet on the inside. Has a really nice effect. Also, if you make any of these tartare kind of salads, it's also in your seaweed salad. So it's a very good, healthy seed. In the oils of the sesame seeds is also very healthy. So we want to keep this around and use it a lot. Directly in the sushi roll, most likely not used, but as I said, on the outside. We have all kinds of different fish roll. And we can go long and wide into, and this should be our own class, about fish roll. And there's from small to large, from different fishes, the fish roll. This one we're going to use in a roll inside. I've also seen a lot of sushi rolls lately in makis. They actually have the fish roll on the outside. Last but not least, this green stuff here is actually your wasabi. And wasabi most likely in the grocery store comes either in a tube, which I would stay away from, or it comes in a powder, and that's the one I would probably tell you to buy. It comes in a small container, probably not more than 2 or 3 ounces of powder in there. It's extremely, extremely spicy in that form, so never ever open that and put your finger in there and taste it. This needs to be reconstituted with water, hot water, and the powder, and then I cover it up and I let it kind of like steep, and the water is absorbed by the powder, and at the end it looks like this. So it's actually the wasabi you see also on your sushi platter when you order. All right, I guess enough talk. Let's show you how to make some of these rolls. Well, actually, I'm going to show you one roll. I'm going to show you also the gunkan. And if you have any questions in between, feel free to ask. Now, one more item I have not told you is we have some water here and the sushi mat. The sushi mat I actually wrapped up in plastic. Most sushi chefs do that. It's a little bit more easy to get the roll off. You can make more rolls before you have to clean up that bamboo mat. So it is kind of a help. And when you're done, like today I make a couple sushi rolls for a party, get rid of the plastic, and then next time you make more sushi, another day, wrap it up again. So you don't have to worry about any cross-contamination. The water bowl is just for my hands. So that's all we do. So let's start with a simple roll. There is a shiny side to the, I don't know if you probably can see it a little bit, not really. There's a shiny side and there's a flatter side. So you want to put the shiny side down. Now you have seen, I talked about the rigids. Now obviously make the rigids so that you can fill this correctly and then cut it. So I'm going to put a little bit water on my hands here. I'm actually putting as much water in my hands as much it takes to not have any rice stick on me. Now when you go and look at sushi chefs, these sushi chefs do this in like 20 seconds. I'm Austrian, okay? I didn't even know about sushi until I was probably 15. Austria does more have, Europe has more Chinese restaurants than Japanese restaurants, that's for sure. And as you can see, to focus back on what I'm doing here, don't go crazy on the rice. It's actually a fairly small amount here. And I leave a rather large area open here. This is where my nori sheet is going to catch the other side and actually seal. If your sushi rice does not stick on the nori sheet, but it sticks on you, all you have to do is put some cold water on your hand. See? Nothing sticks. All right, that looks good to me. Don't press too much down, because actually when you roll it, you're going to press a lot more down anyways. Also have a towel next to you. Keeps your hands then dry when you switch to a different task. So what do we feel like? I feel like crab meat. So we're filling the sushi roll on the bottom. Ooh, I forgot something. I like it spicy. I don't know how about you. Most sushi chefs do also that, where they take some wasabi, they go down just like this. Very little. And believe me, you probably don't need more than that. So we have the crab meat. What else can we throw in here? Let's get a little bit of the fish roe in here. Don't forget, you don't need much because you're going to roll this, right? How about avocado? A piece of avocado. Now, the only thing you always have to think about when you make these sushi rolls is that when you cut them, that everybody gets a piece of everything. So if I would have put it like this, guess what? There's one piece without avocado. So you want to go either a little bit overlapping, or you just want to fill up the holes with some extra pieces, right? That makes sense. It's a little bit like strudel making. That's maybe why I'm so good at sushi. It reminds me of making strudel. Nah, it doesn't. All right. Is that enough? What do you think? Now, we don't put any soy sauce in there. You could put some spicy mayonnaise on top if you really like it hot. But that's basically very simple it. So we kept everything fairly on the bottom. You could put it a little bit up, and we have another question before I roll it.
Why wouldn't you want to get the tube wasabi?
Oh, in my experience, first of all, it seems to be more expensive when you think about how much you get out of the powdered. Also, the powdered stuff holds longer when I keep it in powdered form. The tube, as soon you poke it and it's open, it gets kind of dry very quickly. So, and it gets extremely spicy too. It seems like it's pulling on, as soon as it's open, it gets hotter. So I would stay away from the tube one. Now, there is sushi restaurants, they give you the individually wrapped, portion controlled wasabi. That is perfectly fine. That's perfectly mixed and usually has an expiration date and they throw it out afterwards. But for at home, I would get the powder, lasts forever. And also you can do different things, you know, you might actually figure out to put that powder in something else. I used to love wasabi mashed potatoes, and there's a lot of restaurants that still do that. Turns the mashed potatoes a little bit green and spicy. Comes really good with a steak, which is maybe more Asian flair. So I hope that answers your question about why not the tubed one. You have just more option. All right, drum roll, please. Let's, I don't think we have drum rolls. Okay, I'm ready to roll. Haha, no pun intended. First roll is a little bit difficult because we have to get this over and have to make sure that everything stays in. I'm pressing. I'm pressing again. I'm checking. I'm pressing and checking, and I roll and finish. So this should be actually a pretty nice roll, as you can see. A friend of mine said, "So this looks like a big cigar." Well, I would not smoke that, that's for sure. Good. The next step is to cut it. As I said, you want to cut it in the middle first. Clean your knife off, and then 3 pieces. So the nori sheet holds together fairly well. Well, not fairly well, it holds really well together. And now I need a plate. Oops, lost some here. So then I would probably put a little bit of seaweed salad on here. Take a little bit of the wasabi. There's some sushi chefs, they make the wasabi much thicker, and they actually make like little leaves and whatever not out of it. So that works too. I lost a little bit of that fish roe here. So this is basically your normal sushi roll. I have made here another plate with a gunkan, which is the battleship one. I'm going to show you quickly how to make the battleship one as well. So we have beautiful sushi already here. Let's do a gunkan because I think we still have time. And this is basically the other side of sushi. Let's cut first a nice piece of salmon too. Or tuna. Let's do tuna. All right, here we go. Cut some tuna. Okay. Put this back here. Okay, so for the gunkan, as I said before, we need a little bit of seaweed. So we also want to look where the shiny side is. So this is the shiny side, so we're going to be rolling this like this. This looks a little bit big for me. So we're going to cut this off. Seaweed is easy to cut. Probably could cut this seaweed off and make something else out of it, or actually use it for some other sushi. All right, so make my hand wet again. And the sushi itself, the sushi chefs usually use their hand plus 2 fingers. And what they do is they roll it, push a little bit, then they take 2 fingers, they actually form it like that. All right, so then there's about a sushi rice blob. Here we go. I actually need another one. Make this one a little bit smaller for the gunkan. So again, I have water in my hands, that's why it doesn't stick so much. This is actually something fantastic you can do together in the kitchen. Kind of like maybe date night. I would probably not do it for the first date, but probably right down the road. Maybe second date. Second date sounds good. How cool, you get relationship advice here too right away. All right, so now we're taking the smaller one. And all I have to do is run this around and it holds. That's all I did. Now if I want to be a little bit more technical, I push in here and make sure that the rice is nice and even. If I need some help, I can put some water on here and it closes off nicely. But that looks actually pretty nice. What are we putting in here? I made some tuna with some green onions and some soy sauce. And we have a question here.
Is it okay to have meat, whether it's cooked or raw, on a wooden cutting board?
Okay, that's more a sanitation question. Can you have raw meat or raw fish or protein on a cutting board? Yeah, I mean you can, as long as you clean it after you use it and you sanitize it, it would be perfectly fine. Health department is not a super fan of butcher block, is not a big fan of regular wood, but butcher block and olive wood is pretty safe. Don't put it in a dishwasher and treat it well. That means make sure it's oiled, mineral oiled, so that it doesn't absorb too much water. You would see that because cutting boards, they're old and nasty, they get like these black lines in it, then I would definitely get rid of. Old butcher blocks, that's what I still learned in Austria, is like we actually had a wire brush and we actually had to brush them off and then clean them. So yeah, wooden boards are perfectly fine. Oh yeah, there's your gunkan. This is called the battleship. How easy was that? You can fill this with anything. I could have filled this with the crab. I could have filled this with what did I say? The fish roe and so forth. Okay, the other sushi, and I did this too early, so we have the sushi here. What would happen, and I'm actually going to redo this because it's falling apart. If you leave the sushi sitting too long, it's going to fall apart on you, and you don't want that, so I'm going to make one more. So sushi chefs usually do a little bit of the wasabi right on the bottom of the sushi. Then they take the sushi piece and they put it over, and that would be, you know, a tuna sushi. Now, what I said before with the seaweed, I could play around now and wrap this up also. This is usually done for that omelet one, the egg one. They actually cook egg just very much like an omelet or scrambled eggs, and then they actually cut it and put it on top, and they would put that one over it. But you know, if you do this at home and you want to be fancy, you can do that of course too. All right, so let's recap what we learned today. Sushi making is fun and easy. No fancy tools really necessary. I told you can use this in a sauce pot. Make sure you rinse the rice well until the point where the water comes out clear. Your ingredients are readily available in grocery stores. For the fresh seafood, I would probably find a place which has fresh seafood butchered. If not, Japanese stores have products for you ready, cut already. A really easy thing to do is working with the imitation crab sticks. They're really yummy. Gunkans are very fun to do because you can fill them with whatever you want. I could have made a mango salsa and put that in there. I could have, if somebody doesn't like fish. So gunkan is the battleship one. Your maki rolls, very easy, shiny side down, a little bit of rice on top. Any filling you really feel like. Keep about a half an inch open on the top, roll it tight. It closes by itself. It's almost foolproof. Nigiri sushi, like I showed you, form the rice in your hand. Make sure you have enough water, that nothing sticks, and any protein again on top. There's so many different variations of different nigiri. Nigiri, with eel, smoked eel, and with any kind of fish and clams and so forth. So next time you go for sushi, check everything out, ask questions, sit at the bar, watch the sushi chef how he does it. You will see in a couple of weeks you can become a fairly good home sushi chef. And again, as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to email us or call in. And thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. Thank you.